Questions answered about Canon's suits with 48 US imaging supplies companies. Hello, I'm David Gibbons. The recent Canon filing with the International Trade Commission in the US has put aftermarket manufacturers of printer cartridges into a spin, not only in the US, but also in China, where many of the cartridges originate. To find out more, I'm joined by Merritt Blakesley, a patent attorney based in Washington, DC, specialising in international trade and intellectual property law. Greetings, Merritt.
Good morning, David. We live in interesting times, the old Chinese curse. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about what's going on.
So what exactly has Canon done in the United States this past week? I mean, give us the facts.
Last week, Canon filed what's called a Section 337 complaint at the U.S. International Trade Commission in Washington, D.C. In the complaint, it accused 48 different companies of infringing 9 of its patents. The companies, the defendants, what we call respondents, can be grouped into 5 categories. 4 of these are the large Chinese manufacturing conglomerates of aftermarket cartridges: Nine Star, Aster, Printright UTech, and Kingway. The 5th group is composed of retailers and importers, most of whom are based in the United States, many of whom are somewhat smaller companies. In addition, Canon simultaneously sued each of these respondents in federal district court, filing 35 separate lawsuits in courts across the United States.
Oh, really? So why did Canon sue each respondent twice?
This is actually a common practice in ITC litigation. The relief available from the ITC is purely injunctive. The ITC has the authority to bar you from importing and selling infringing products, but nothing more. On the other hand, the federal district courts have the authority to assess monetary damages against infringers. It's worth noting, however, in this case, that the damages period would only reach back to August 2017, when the first of the patents that Canon is asserting in this new case were issued.
Okay, so what is the nature of Canon's complaint? I mean, what is Canon now asserting with these new patents? Can you state what is actually making these cartridges infringe Canon's patents?
Well, Canon has accused the respondents of infringing a new generation of patents covering the dongle gear and the drum unit on its laser printers.
Yes, but Merritt, why did Canon choose to file these new patents?
In 2014, in what was called the 918 investigation, Canon brought suit at the ITC accusing 34 respondents of infringing 9 patents. Sounds like the present case. And in the 918 investigation, the allegations also covered the drum gear and the dongle gear, and the drum unit on its laser printers. All of the respondents in the 918 investigation settled or defaulted, and the ITC issued a general exclusion order covering the asserted patents. But even before the investigation was completed, the respondents and other aftermarket manufacturers began developing and marketing dongle gear toner cartridges that designed around the 918 patents. These design-around cartridges worked with Canon and HP laser printers that used a redesigned dongle gear that did not infringe the 918 patents. In short order, the marketplace was again filled with legal aftermarket toner cartridges. In other words, the general exclusion order that Canon had obtained in the 918 investigation had become largely worthless. So in December 2016, Canon began filing this new generation of patents that are asserted in the present ITC complaint. These are patents that rewrite the 918 patents to make the third-party design-around toner cartridges illegal. Think of the new Canon litigation as World War II launched to correct the problems that World War I left behind.
Okay, so how is this Canon complaint different to the ones filed previously?
Well, I've just described the complaint that was filed in 2014. An earlier complaint was filed in 2012 in what was called the 829 investigation. That covered the gear that Canon was then using on its laser toner cartridges, what was called the twisted prism gear. The 2014 and the present complaint cover the dongle gear.
Okay, so tell us again, how many parties have been identified at this time, and are there likely to be any more?
48 parties have been named this time. In my view, it's unlikely that more will be named. However, it's important to remember that Canon is seeking what's called a general exclusion order, the same sort of order that it was successful in obtaining in the 829 and 918 investigations. A general exclusion order bars the importation and sale of any toner cartridge or drum unit that infringes one of the asserted patents, even if the importer or seller was not named as a respondent in the investigation. In other words, a general exclusion order affects everyone in the consumables aftermarket.
Of course, everybody is impacted. So tell me, Merritt, which products are impacted?
It appears that the focus of the new investigation is new-built compatibles with a design around dongle gear, products that did not violate the 918 general exclusion order. However, it's important to stress that Canon may seek to use any new general exclusion order to block the importation of remanufactured toner cartridges. One more very important point, new-built clone, that is, new-built aftermarket cartridges that exactly copy the OEM cartridges, including the patented features, are in all circumstances illegal. They are covered by the 918 general exclusion order and will be covered by any new GEO.
Yeah, of course. But what about remans that replace a worn-out components like the OPC with a new built component? Could they render a reman to be infringing?
That's an interesting, very tricky question. In the 918 investigation, respondents asked the administrative law judge to decide whether replacing a spent OPC with a new built replacement infringed the in a remand infringed the 918 patents. The judge refused to decide the issue, and the case ended without this question being resolved. I believe the question is likely to arise again in the new case.
Oh, that's interesting. Is it correct that the compatible new build design around cartridges you just described that were shipped and sold into the United States before the Canon patents were granted were legal at that time?
Yes, properly designed design arounds were legal. Now these same products are subject to the new generation of patents that are inserted in this complaint. The first of the new patents issued in August of last year, the others in December and January.
Okay. Some are asking me, are those cartridges that were shipped before Canon's new patents were granted still safe for sale, or do you expect that these will now be infringing?
No, they are not safe for sale. A patent bars the sale of an infringing product. It doesn't matter that the product was manufactured or imported before the patent issued. If it infringes the new patent, it becomes illegal to sell at the moment that the patent issues.
Now, if a patent is infringed in a product, does that render the whole cartridge that may possess many patents completely illegal?
Yes, it does. If the dongle gear infringes the OEM's patent, the entire toner cartridge in which that gear is used is illegal. And that is true even if the aftermarket manufacturer holds its own patents covering other aspects of the cartridge.
Okay, you've made that very clear. But what alternative solutions should the aftermarket now be considering? Remanufacturing the drum gear, combination with coatings and sleeves?
Well, I think there are three alternatives which are not necessarily mutually exclusive. One alternative is to participate vigorously in the litigation in the effort either to prove that your product is not infringed or to prove that the patents it's accused of infringing are invalid. second alternative is to develop a dongle gear that designs around the new generation of patents. In other words, to start the cycle again. The third alternative is to switch from selling a new built design around to a remanufactured product.
Oh, thank you. So do you have a view on how the aftermarket will respond? Will this kill the new build product, or will it come back with an alternative workaround solution?
Oh, I believe the aftermarket players will try all three alternatives. The history of the aftermarket cartridge industry is a history of finding legal ways around the legal and technical barriers that the OEMs have erected time and time again. The aftermarket's been incredibly inventive in doing this, and I see no reason why this time around should be any different.
Yeah, I think you're right. Is this a case where their respective patent could or should be challenged?
It's certainly a case where respondents should carefully analyze whether the new patents are subject to being invalidated, particularly since they appear to have been written specifically to target legal design arounds. However, it's far too early to say whether they are in fact vulnerable to invalidation.
Okay, so are you in the position to provide legal counsel to aftermarket companies looking for such?
Absolutely, yes I am.
Oh, okay, good. Then viewers can go to the address on the screen now. I guess more details will become better known over the next 6 to 8 weeks. Merritt, are you available to come to our Expo and Summit in Cancun, Mexico on May 24 and 25 to update the imaging supplies industry further?
Certainly. I would welcome the opportunity to talk to the industry further about this issue in May in Cancun. By then, I would hope that many of the points that are not clear today will have become clearer.
Thanks for joining me today, Merritt.
Thank you, David. There's certainly much more to be said about this issue in the weeks and months to come, and I'll welcome the opportunity to follow up with you in Cancun.
I've been speaking to the experienced international trade law patent attorney Merritt Blakesley from the Blakesley Law Firm with its offices in Washington, D.C., USA. And for all the details of this story and other breaking news every day, go to rtmworld.com/2D. Or pick up a copy of our Imaging World magazine with Dr. Wyhoff on the front cover this month, published in English, Spanish, Chinese, Russian and Arabic. Thanks for keeping in touch with This Week Today. I'm David Gibbons.